Welcome everyone, it's Glacier again. We're at Glacier as always. This is the 27th of March, is a Sunday, and yeah, we're going to kind of go through the little progress update. It's been a few weeks, and I wanted to catch you guys up. So, we finished going through that last giant thing of sprue bits that we did on the last video, kind of showed you all the mountains of sprues and everything. We went through all that. That was, that took probably like 6 days to go through, just from the moment I wake up, clip some, go to work, come home, clip some, and kind of worked our way through it. And then we started on our super heavy pile. We got all of the Baneblade chassis variants assembled, and we finished assembling our Marauder Destroyer yesterday, and so we just have 2 Marauder bombers left. And I've been tweaking lists because I had a set thing of how I wanted lists to go. And I had a shopping cart with other models on it. This was probably 2-3 months ago. But I hadn't updated the list because I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to order those models. I'm good with the collection I currently have. I have plenty, and said no Warhammer player ever. But I have lots of stuff to paint over the next several years. So hopefully we can keep doing videos for those. And yeah, so this is my Mordian Iron Guard that I have behind me, and the little clip we showed in the beginning. And so we'll kind of go through what each of them are, and we'll talk about it. And we need some character names. So if you got any good character names, let me know. But aside from that, we finally successfully 3D printed some stuff, and we're 3D printing right now. And so hopefully that'll work out as well. And I do need to do some maintenance on the 3D printer. I got new FEP sheets, and I do need to do a new FEP install. But currently, the current FEP worked yesterday, and it's got some dents in certain areas and a little cloudy. But I think it might still be fine for now. Hopefully, at least this next print that's going on right now, it doesn't fail. Because aside from that, I think we're fine for now. But things can always change. And yeah, so it's been a lot of work, and I thought the super heavies were going to be really fun to assemble, and they were not. I think infantry for me, I think, is probably one of the more fun things to assemble. I mean, these Victoria miniature models, they're pretty nice. They weren't super fun to assemble, but like assembling a squad of 10 guys is almost like more rewarding than assembling like one giant tank. Which I don't know. Maybe it's just because they're little humans and a little more personal. But let's see, where do we want to start? All right, so let's start over here. Let's tilt the camera over to the right, and let's see. We have our 2 plasma tank commanders. I believe one of them's the Warlord. I'm not 100% sure. There's one more model that I have printing right now that's going to either be a platoon commander or a company commander, depending on how I reallocate points. But as of right now, we have 2 platoon executioner tank commanders, and they have their heavy bolter on the hull and their plasma sponsons on the little cork, so it'll be easier to paint them. Obviously, and I can have it so the heads can be removed. But yeah, I went with the plasma executioner just because I didn't have any plasma executioner Lehman Russes, and I think they look really cool. So we got 2 of those, and then of course Lily's over here. Hey, come here, come here, come here, come here. Nope. Okay. Well, she's adorable. So come on. Let's say hello. Say hello. Aww. All right, go forth. Anyways, so we have we got the 2 tank commanders, and we have our Stormhammer. Now, I think, is this the one? Yeah. So this Stormhammer, I magnetized the weapon options on the side. So interesting enough, Stormhammer in 40K is Legends, and I think in 30K it's still a normal vehicle you can use, because this is supposed to be for the Solar Auxilia. Right now this part comes off, and this cannon isn't glued in place just because I wanted it to be easier to paint the cannon and kind of get around the cannon and underneath it. So those parts, I just kind of set them on here for just to display the model for the video. But we have and of course the cannon top comes off, and I'll probably end up drilling some holes in the bottom to put on a cork or some sort of holder. I potentially could put a magnet on there, but I don't really know if I want to put a magnet. But so we have now, interesting enough, the tank, when you look at the rules, it should have 7 las cannons. Should have 7 las cannons plus a las cannon. It always comes with 1, and then it has 7 weapon options. There she is, which is interesting. So it comes with a multi-laser here up, the coaxial multi-laser for this top cannon, and this is a twin battle cannon, and it comes with a las cannon here. Now the options for this little front turret is either las cannon or a multi-laser. No, actually this is just the las cannon, so they only have this bit right here for las cannon because it's slightly sloped differently. And so it's like, all right, so when you look at the kit and you look at the rules, this should always be the one las cannon, which means that this coaxial should be able to be changed because it does say you can go up to 7 different weapon options, 7 flamers, 7 las cannons, 7 heavy bolters, and I think heavy stubber might be, I'm not sure about heavy stubber, but I do know that it's multi-laser, flamer, bolter, las cannon. I think those are the 4 options. But they only give you 6 of the 6 different attachments. So you can they give you 6 flamers, 6 multi-lasers, 6 heavy bolters, and 6 las guns or las cannons. So I put the las cannons on here. I magnetized them on for this one. I have a second one of these, but I didn't magnetize that one because I was like, I'm always going to use las cannons. But this one up here should be a las cannon, or should be an optional las cannon. But per the rules, because this is one of the optional weapons, that's just a multi-laser for now because the kit doesn't come with anything else. It only comes with the coaxial multi-laser. Now I could have put a las cannon there if I had the right bit, but it's kind of small. If you see it, it's kind of tiny. It's proportionally a different size than these ones. So a little nerding out there, a little getting into the weeds, but they should have made different options. They should have made 4 possible options for this coaxial gun to give you the full 7 different weapon options. But it's okay. It's fine. I think rules-wise, I'll probably just say it's a multi-laser because, like, whatever. It's got a whole bunch of las guns anyways. It has 7 total plus the extra multi-laser, so I think it's fine. Plus, it got the 2 double cannon and the big cannon. This guy can do quite a bit of damage. Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, lady. I gotta set this down. Now, what we have here, I mentioned this before in a video, I think, but I don't know if I showed it off. So this is what is this, Eldar? It's not a Crimson Hunter. That is the pilot. It's a Knight something. Now that's what the chassis is. But if you look closely, let me pop it off the base real quick. So this is I did a little bit of weathering on the base to use some not MIG. I forget what. No, it's a Vallejo texture, but it's like a sand texture. And then I put some other sand on top of it, and I put a bunch of bits and skull bits and stuff. So that's going to be really cool when I paint it up. And got some blackened grass and everything. So anyway, so this is the Eldar Flyer kit. Whoops, I found it. So that's I didn't glue on the little glass canopy yet. So and I haven't painted the interior, and the pilot's on his own cork base right now. So if you look at the bottom, we stuck some, so these are 2 las guns, or 2 las cannons. Sorry, I'm shaking a little bit. And these are 3 autocannon barrels from the old Hydra kit. Not old, but I mean from the Hydra kit. And then these are supposed to be hunter killer missiles that came with, I think, what did they come with? Several of the 30,000 Chimeras I have. And then they have a little Chimera mounting point for them. So the idea behind this is this has the same loadout and sort of, so maybe not frame size as the Thunderbolt. I'm not sure how long the Thunderbolt is, but the Thunderbolt's on the same base size. And I was like, so I'm going to proxy this as a Thunderbolt for this army. And I gave it the twin las cannons, and I gave it the auto cannons for the thin in the nose, and I gave it the Hellstrike missile array. But since the frame size of the aircraft was a little smaller, instead of using Hellstrike missiles, which I used on the Marauder, I just put the Hunter Killer missiles for size comparison. But aside from that, it does look like a sleek modern fighter jet, and more like a current modern fighter jet than it would like the Imperial Guard, like the I guess you could probably say, what is it? Not the Thunderbolt. There's the other one. There's the other Strike Fighter. I forget what the name of it is, but it's a little more sleeker, but it's got less weapons. So this is going to be my proxy Thunderbolt, and a little story behind this is I have like a half Eldar mercenary pilot, and this is like he took one of the crafts and then they loaded up with a bunch of Imperial weapons, and so I think that one's going to look pretty cool when he's all painted up. And I got a little digi-camel stencil for this guy, so he's going to look pretty cool. All right, so we're moving over a little bit. We'll move the camera just a little bit. So we got our Victoria Miniatures infantry squad right here, and we also have a company. So there's in the army, there's 3 platoon commanders, maybe a 4th one, maybe. There's 3 platoon commanders, and so these were just extra bits because I had the las cannon heavy weapon team, and those came with their own artillery. Their own 6-man artillery units that came with each heavy weapon team. And I got these specific like artillery bits. And so this guy's got like a little detonator controller and he's pointing. So I had some extra bodies left over. So we got a power sword, and this is a plasma pistol. Now the tip of the pistol got cut off on this one, but it's fine. He's a little stub nose. Got a little stub nose pistol. And so there's only 3 infantry squads, which I know for guard is pretty small. But this army's 3,000 points. The idea behind this army is more of an apocalypse game where you bring all your super heavies and stuff, not so much your infantry, and you're playing like I'm more thinking along the lines of like a team game. Plus I kind of just wanted to take all the big tanks and stuff in this one army, and I had bought 3 of these Mordian Iron Guard look-alike. I forget what Victoria Miniatures calls them, but I had gotten 3 squads of these, and I was like, nah, that's fine. I don't need to buy any more. So infantry-wise, now I can always incorporate this into like a mass infantry wave with some of my other regiments. Like my Praetorian Guard, I have tons of infantry for the Praetorian Guard, and so we're all good there. And so we have 3 squads of those. They got the las cannon with the infantry, and then we have, if we zoom over here, we have the other 2. So we got one right here, and we have one right here. They all come with the las cannon and plasma gun, and the sergeant has a power sword and a las pistol, and they all come with an extra platoon commander, not like integrated. So back in the day, you used to like attach characters to squads, but now he's just going to be running alongside them, issuing them additional orders, probably move, or something along those lines, or first rank fire, second rank fire. I'm not exactly sure what orders he'll be issuing, but we'll have a platoon commander with each squad to give them a little bit more robust action, because we don't have any transports in this army. And so I wanted the platoon officer with each infantry squad, so we can kind of move around the battlefield a little faster. Hopefully we get to keep move, and it doesn't get changed too much. But really infantry light, so objectives are going to be a problem. I'm aware of that. But this is more of a thematic army than like a competitive army. I have other Imperial Guard armies that are a little bit more competitively loaded out, so to speak, but this is more of a thematic one. Plus we have our commissar here. Now he's either going to be a regular commissar or a Lord Commissar. Once again, he's got this is the one where he's reading the book. Let me see if I can get it. Can we get it to focus? Put it right over my face. There we go. Yeah, so we got the power fist. He's reading the book, and I think I gave him a plasma pistol. But yeah, so we got our Lord Commissar or just regular Commissar, depending on how we want to do our loads, points let out. We have 3 Wyverns. Now, originally those Wyverns were years ago. Let me see if I can zoom in on those Wyverns. It's probably about as close. I don't want to tilt the camera. So we got 3 Wyverns. They just got the heavy bolter and the regular normal loadout. They don't have anything special. But those 3 Wyverns were originally going to be part of my Cadian army. But my Cadian army was already like 6,000+ points, and so I diversified and moved some of the unpainted models to other armies just to kind of like share the load. We got ourselves our Shadow Sword over there. Shadow Sword can do, I think it's like 108 damage in a shot, and that's just like ridiculous. We loaded them up with a set of sponsons with heavy bolters and las guns, and I think those are all super glued in, which was not intentional to super glue the sponson las cannons in, but that's just kind of how it worked out. But we did not do any Octoblades, just because I've already made the one Octoblade, and I just didn't want to do it again because it's a lot of work. And then, as you've been looking in the background, we got our Marauder Destroyer. So let me pull this lady up here. Oh, she's pretty heavy. Let me see if I can. All right, she's in the frame, no problem. All right, so we have. Let me take her off the base real quick. So we got to tilt her because she's magnetized on with these neodymium magnets. So you got to tilt her off to break the magnet. You don't want to. If you try pulling it up, it's just going to lift the base off. So let's talk about the base real quickly. We're going to kind of get into it. This is a 3D printed 170 millimeter base. I got it off of Asgard Rising on my mini factory. If I remember, I'll put the description in the link. I'll put the link below. If not, it's pretty simple to find, just Asgard Rising on my mini factory. And they make a lot of different size bases. They were one of the only few where I can find a 170 millimeter base that kind of like looked, one was relatively cheap and affordable. I think I got 3 different styles for $8, which was like really good. And they came pre-supported and they had an unsupported option. They came in 2 parts for smaller printers. I probably could have printed it. They didn't have an option where it was not 2 parts, but you could have stacked them on top of each other. But it printed perfectly fine. The supports broke off really well, and I think it worked out really well. And so is the first print I have done that wasn't a test print that actually worked, and so I'm really impressed. And then I took a piece of not super thin wood. I don't know what's like 1/8 of an inch or something. Anyway, so I took a piece of just like wood I got at the craft store, and I just kind of cut it down to size to match this. And then I used 2-part epoxy, like 5-minute. It's like JB Weld 2-part epoxy, and I epoxied the base to it. And then I put a magnet. So this has a magnet, so I can also tilt this and break this off. And so I put a magnet here. These magnets, the magnet and the rod come from Magnet Baron. And I want to be careful when I click back on there because I don't want to break. Now, the bonds have cured. I put them on yesterday, and so the bonds, it says it's got like 35,000 PSI worth of bonding force for the magnet to the rod and for basically to the base. But I still don't want to damage it, so I like to kind of put it on there nice and slow. This is the 12-inch rod. Make your jokes now. Anyways, I went with a 12-inch rod because I have a building. I have one terrain piece that sits almost 12 inches tall. It's like 11 and a half. And I didn't want the Marauder, because she's a wide girl. She's thick. I didn't want her to get hung up on that building when she was flying around. And I kind of think since she's a destroyer and she's supposed to be like flying way above the battlefield and doing a whole bunch of damage to the ground and doing some ground attack runs, I still thought that she should be way higher above the battlefield than like other flyers would be. Typically, realistically though, I mean, aside from the stub mounted auto cannons, if she was dropping bombs, because she does carry 1 bomb payload in the little compartment right here. Just got 1 heavy bomb, but you would really realistically have this aircraft way higher off the ground. To me, for like, it's like a mix of like not a B-52. It's like the mix of a what is that? I forgot, B-29. It's got like kind of the doctrine for the Marauder Destroyer is weird if you compare it to a current military, because it's really large. It's like it's the frame of a bomber, but it's got the weapons of like an attack aircraft. But she's a wide gal, so like I don't know about her like going in for an attack run, but still pulling up at the last minute. She does have twin heavy bolters on top. She's got twin auto cannons on the back, and this one does rotate. I might glue it in place, I'm not sure. Maybe after I paint it, we'll figure out. And she's got the auto cannons, the 6 auto cannons on the nose. Plus, she got the missile racks, which I did magnetize the missile racks. And so she connects to the rod by a big magnet right here. I was going to put the magnet inside the bomb door, but I wanted the bomb door piece to stay there, and so I just like kind of positioned it. Now, if you're looking about center, if you're looking about like where a model achieves balance, the model achieves balance somewhere between here, where this magnet is, and actually inside the bomb compartment door. So realistically, if you wanted to have perfect balance, this magnet should be about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch probably about a half an inch, slightly forward to achieve a balance like this, where's the balance of the model. And that would be where this balance would be. But with the JB Weld, that came off. Careful. I didn't glue this one on yet because I wanted to keep it spinning around. I could put a magnet in there, but I don't know if I'm going to. So yeah, if you wanted to achieve the perfect balance now, because the JB Weld has like 3,900 psi worth of force, all I did was scour the resin, make a little crosshatch pattern, put the JB Weld there, put the magnet there, let it cure, let it set there for about an hour, and we were good to go. And that was last night. And so same thing with this rod right here, this magnet on there. And so when we attach them, we bring them close and then we let them snap together. And she sits on there perfectly. And the cool thing is I went with the 170 millimeter oval base because I wanted her to still be able to be used on the battlefield. They come with the 105 millimeter oval base, which I think is just a little too small. And it's got the normal plastic hollow. So it's just like this one to where there's nothing under it. And I think if you were to put something really heavy on this, it would flex the crap out of this. Now I've seen guys put a piece of plastic hard right here or add some filler. It's like some sprue bit filler. You can probably do that. And that might work out, but I wanted a slightly more stable, wide platform so she didn't wobble too much and it was going to support her. So I think you could put her on the 105. I've seen some pictures where it looks like it's on the 105 with this, but imagining the Marauder this close to the ground instead of where she's at, it just doesn't seem to fit very well. Now, there is one negative thing I have to report. And if you noticed, so the wings are not flat with each other. They're a little off with each other. And so this one seems fine, slopes. This one seems a little bit cockeyed upward. And I could just apply some heat with a heat gun and just slowly bend it down and it'll probably work, which is probably what I'll do later on today or tomorrow. But she really screams Imperial Engineering because to me, Imperial Engineering is not flawless. It's not perfect. And I will have to do some gap filling along the lines right here with some milliput at a later date and some gap filling along the wings. So there is some gap filling that will need to be done to just kind of clean up some of these connection points. But I didn't use any pinning on this model. This model was all just sanding, scouring the surface and using some normal Loctite super glue. And she's holding together really well. Now, obviously, if she falls, if she gets dropped from a significant height, I don't know what's going to snap off. But I don't think the wings will snap off unless I apply direct force to the wings because they're actually glued, not just the contact point of the wing, but this engine right here is also glued in on the side. So that is the Marauder Destroyer. This is the Mordian Iron Guard, and we have... we're working on the bombers, and the two bombers are going to be allocated for the Catachan army. And we have, so the cockpits come without glass on them, but they do come with a little piece of clear plastic that you would use for the cockpit glass, but you have to cut it yourself, which I realistically think, GW could release this in hard plastic. I really think a lot of it's hollow, and I think GW could easily release this in hard plastic. I don't know. The kit would look significant. I think the kit would look slightly different from the way it comes now. You could probably do this entire kit in hard plastic, and it might have more pieces because there's a lot of this is like unibody single piece, like the whole nose is a single piece. And so I think for hard plastic, it might be like a clamshell with like a ridge line between the nose. But I really think that this could be hard plastic or a version of this because I'm fairly certain if you wanted to make this hard plastic and not resin, you could easily alter the model, not the weapon loadout options, but alter the model enough to where you could do it. This canopy was heavily super warped, and I chose to put the glass on because what I did with my Catachans is I did not paint the interior of the cockpit, and I'm not a huge fan of painting the interior of the cockpit. It's not necessary. Yeah, I know a lot of people like to show off the little glow and everything, but I just paint the glass a color, and I give it. If you've seen my Catachan video, showcase video, the way I did the blue on the canopy. So that's what I did. I put the glass already on all these parts, and this is just normal plastic. So this is actually from like a bag. This plastic right here is from one of the bits bags because I used too much of this clear plastic on that side. But we're just going to spray paint this one sealed. Now the dude inside still moves around, so that's pretty cool. But we're not going to be painting the interior of the cockpit. And but yeah, we're working through it. And yeah, so that is this. And I really like how it spins. And I can spin it by just moving the model, or I can move the rod, or I can move the base. But either way, I can spin it on 3 axes. Well, axes, 3 points of spin, but I think 1 axis of spin because it's just rotational. But let me put this guy back here. And so that is the Mordian. Oh, that is the Mordian Iron Guard army. Now I have a few other models that I assembled, but they're for different armies. But let me go grab those real quick and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. We got a couple other vehicles that we built over the last few weeks. We got 2 of these Macarius heavy battle tanks that come with the twin battle cannon, some heavy bolter sponsons. We got a little hull-mounted heavy stubber, and we got a pintle-mounted heavy stubber. I think this is dual heavy stubber. This guy's going to look pretty sweet. We have 2 of these. One of these is going into the Destroyan army, and the other one's going in the Talarn army to provide some direct fire support. So these guys are really fun to assemble, and I really enjoy them. And obviously the turret is removable for painting, and also I think just because I think it'd be kind of cool to play where, like, you know, this becomes if this tank is taken out, you just take the turret off and it's like now ruined. I think it'd be kind of cool. Or just lay the turret on the side, however you want to do it. Looks pretty snazzy. I glued the sponsons in. Yeah, we don't currently play in a vehicle facing matters anymore. It's just kind of like hull, so like sticks out a little bit. Back in the day when I used to play, if you could like. Obviously, the turret had 360 because the turret could fire in all directions, but some used to be really stingy. They used to be like, it can only fire in the direction the turret is facing, and so you'd have to physically move the turret. So I remember those days. Those are kind of fun. We have a second Stormhammer here. This one's going in the Praetorian Guard. Obviously, this dual cannon that I showed you on the last one. It's currently sitting over there on the shelf because I'm going to paint. I want to kind of paint them a little separately. You know, one thing I noticed about this kit, because this kit is mostly just the plastic Baneblade kit plus the resin upgrades for the Stormhammer. It doesn't sit really flush right here, even if you line up this base part with the hole, and so there's always a gap right here. So I'm gonna have to use some gap filler on that. And I didn't magnetize these ones like I did the other one. Mostly I was low on magnets, and I also don't plan on ever changing this, especially for the Praetorian Guard, because the Praetorian Guard are heavy infantry, heavy tank, long range, and I wanted the most long range firepower possible. So I wanted the 6 sponson las cannons for doing a long distance punch. And I kind of wanted to keep this guy as far back from combat as possible. So I didn't want to give him the heavy bolter because it's 36. Is that 36? 36 or 48 inches. But I know these guys, I believe, are 48 for the las cannons. Now the problem with it is this it's a wide lad, so it won't fit very well through things because of these sticking out. And so I got to be careful not to drop it and so forth because I don't want to damage it. But got another one of these. This one's going in the Praetorian Guard, so it'll be nice. Probably a khaki, desert-ish camo kind of color. I haven't currently decided what the Praetorian Guard are going to look like yet. And then we have, lastly, for the showcase today, we have a giant Stormlord. This is the Stormlord of all Stormlords. Now, unfortunately, I made one mistake, and that was when I put on the 4 sponsons, because you can put, I think you can put up to 6 sponsons. Is it 6 sponsons? I know there are 6 sponson spots on a Baneblade, but I don't know if you can take 6 sets of sponsons. I know you can take 4, but maybe you can take 6. That would be ridiculous, because I think these are like 100 points for a set of sponsons. So it would be 300 points in sponsons. At that point, just take a couple more extra support vehicles, or even at that point, you might be able to save for a whole Baneblade. But I had the points, and I really just wanted a Stormlord, because you got the Vulcan Mega Bolter, you got the normal Heavy Bolter, and then typically, if you don't take sponsons, he only has 4 weapons, so you'd have the twin Heavy Bolter on the front, the Vulcan Cannon, and he has the 2 stubbers on the back where the transport capacity is for the crew. and that would be the typical loadout. And then if you throw on the sponsons, now I have 4 extra twin heavy bolters and 4 las guns. And it's got a troop capacity carrying of 40, and it's got a special rule open top platform, I think it is, where 20 of the 40, up to 20 models that are in the transport can shoot out the transport. So now this guy rolls up on the battlefield, melts you down with the Vulcan heavy bolter, hits you with 5 twin heavy bolters and 4 las cannons, and potentially hitting you with, I don't know, 20 las guns or a mixture of weapons. And so far, the initial plan is to fill this dude with 30 conscripts and 3 platoon officers for those conscripts to just kind of keep them orderly. But that's the initial plan. I'm not 100% sure. I might put something else in here as a transport capacity option to like give it some more fire support, because I think it'd be kind of cool. Maybe it would be hilarious. How many mortars could you fit in here? Well, let's see. Mortars are a heavy weapon option. You can have, if in a normal standard, you can have 9 mortars in a normal army if you had no other heavy weapon teams. But I do have other heavy weapon teams in this army. So that would take up 9 times 3 is 27. So that would take up 9 times 2, 18. Yeah. Because they take up 2 slots. Yeah. So you'd have 18. So you'd have 22 slots left. But you take up 18 of the compartments to put 9 mortars in here. And then imagine firing 9 mortars, because that only takes up 18 of your 20 allowed shots. And so I think 9 mortars from this guy would be pretty fucking hilarious. I might do that just for fun. And but aside from that, we have the Stormlord for the Destroyers. That is pretty much it for today. That's all the model showcase. Outside of modeling, I've been playing some Fallout New Vegas. I tried War Game. I tried Warno. I'm really not good at any of those Eugen Systems RTS kind of like tactical games. I picked it up. It was on sale. Chrono Cross is coming to PC on April 7th, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely going to pick that up. I played that a lot on PlayStation, so I definitely want to get a little nostalgia on that. Total War Warhammer 3 is out, but it is still not, I think, is it Mortal Empires or Immortal Empires? Because it used to be Mortal Empires, but I've heard it being called Immortal Empires because it's like the 3rd iteration. It's supposed to be the largest map. But as far as I know, that hasn't released yet. I haven't checked, so maybe it did. But that is, that I have that currently uninstalled to put other games on for hard drive space. But once Mortal Empires comes out, we're definitely going to be installing that and having some fun playing with the Empire, because none of the current armies that are available I really want to play with. I think I played with 3 or 4 of the factions already, just kind of like trying to test them out in skirmish mode, and I played a couple campaigns. Never really got super far because I just wasn't super into those armies or their roster or their game mechanics. I wasn't super excited about them. But I'm really excited about getting the Empire back on the battlefield, and that's going to be pretty fun. I did pick up Stalker Anomaly, which is a free mod, which supposedly incorporates all 3 of the Stalker games. I picked up Stalker Anomaly to try and test it out. I played for 5 to 10 minutes and I died. First mission, go kill a couple boars, and now it didn't survive. Got whacked twice and died. So yeah, Stalker's that's an interesting game. And so let's do that. And I've donated to a couple charities for the Ukraine conflict, and yeah, I do side with the Ukrainians on this instance, regardless of the whole region. A lot of history in that region of conflict since man settled there, and so I'm not going to go into in a lot of details, but I just inspired by those people's what's the word? Inspired by their courage and their desire, to be independent. They're not a very old country, and they desperately seek freedom. And it looks like to me, at least from what I'm seeing, is that a significantly large portion of the population of the country doesn't want to be invaded and is fiercely fighting back. And I've contacted my representatives. I've emailed the president. I've emailed my other state representatives, and I voiced my support and for supporting Ukraine in any way that we possibly can, and we'll just see how that all shakes out. And I hope it all works out, and I hope we can just get back to just playing like the tabletop war and the video game war, and not worrying about the real wars. And I get it. There's conflicts going all the time, and there's going to be, it possibly could be a comment. Well, what about this conflict? What about this conflict? And it's Ukraine conflict is a unique conflict for me, mostly based upon where I grew up, the era I grew up, and kind of how I grew up, and then I have some friends in the region, so there's that, and so I did donate to some charities. I got some, and they were mostly Warhammer related charities. So I bought some STL files, Fallout Hobbies. I got some decals. The Mordian Iron Guard army is going to be the paint scheme is going to be heavily inspired based upon the Ukrainian military. So I just want to kind of throw that out there just in case you were wondering. I believe that for the infantry, I'm probably going to go green jackets for the infantry instead of their standard blue with red stripes. I'm probably going to go green because the Ukrainian army's dress uniform is green. And so we're going to be doing that. So that I have donated to some charities, and I have some, and I don't remember how much I've donated, but that doesn't matter. And so, if you got some money, if you got a couple bucks, whatever part of the charity you want to donate to, there's tons out there. And if you want to go any further, if you want to voice, support, towards it, then, you can contact your representatives, or you can contact the president, or whatever country you may be part of. If you're in America or other countries, just, reach out to your leaders through email, and then just let them know, what most every modern politician I know these days has on their website, like a way to contact them about issues. And that's typically what I tend to do. I tend to voice my political opinions based upon, voting and based upon contacting them directly in email. That's how I engage in the political discourse within the world, and the rest of it is I focus on what makes me happy. So we got that going on, and that's all I got. So I'm going to leave you here and have a great day, and hope you have a good one. Goodbye.